up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Desiree, and if you are new here, thank you for stopping by. I greatly appreciate it. And in today's coffee chat episode, I'm going to be talking about confidence, building confidence, talking about a little bit about my experience of how I have been able to gain confidence over the years, because I haven't always been a confident person. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how I have been able to become more confident in myself over the years, and just some tips and advice for you all if you are struggling with your confidence, or you're struggling with being confident within yourself, maybe loving yourself or accepting yourself for who you are. And so yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit about that in this episode, so let's go ahead and get into it. Also, in this episode, I'm not drinking coffee. As you guys can see, this tea bag hanging from the cup, I'm actually drinking peppermint tea because I'm fasting. That was random, but I just had to mention that. Okay, let's get into this episode. As I mentioned, in today's video, I'm going to be talking about confidence, and I'm going to be sharing a little bit about my experience of how I have been able to build confidence over the years. I also want to give some helpful tips for any of you all who are struggling with building confidence within yourself. Let's talk a little bit about my experience. Like I mentioned, growing up, I was diagnosed with a learning disability. I have a whole YouTube video where I talk about my learning disability story. So that's like one of the most popular videos here on my channel. So if you haven't checked that story time video, definitely check that video. I'll make sure to put a card right here, and so you all can check that out. So growing up, I was diagnosed with the learning disability. A year or two after I was diagnosed with the learning disability, I was diagnosed with scoliosis, and chronic scoliosis to be exact. And I think it's very common for people to get scoliosis. All our spines are not completely straight. We all have a little curvature in our spine. However, my curvature in my spine was actually founded by my doctor, and she noticed, even my mom noticed, that I was kind of standing a little awkward. Like I just wasn't like my posture looked bad. Like it just wasn't, something was off, and it definitely was off. I got an x-ray done, and I don't, the timing is a little different, so I have to do like a story time about my whole experience with my back in a separate video. But yeah, I got x-rays done, I think as early as, I think it was 7 or 8, and yeah, my back was jacked up, y'all. Definitely was a curve. And then over the years, until I had surgery around like 11 or 12 years old, my spine continued to curve. And then that's when, I think when I was like 10 or 11, the doctor was like, you have to have back surgery. And so a lot of people don't know that I have rods in my back. I had to have surgery to correct my chronic scoliosis, because basically the spine, if I didn't have surgery, my spine would have killed me and crashed my lungs. So yeah, it get dark in this video, but that was the reality of my life as a little girl growing up, dealing with scoliosis, then, and having chronic back pain, like back pain, along with struggling in school, feeling awkward, feeling different, struggling to learn, struggling to interpret information. You see where I'm going? Yeah, real difficult. And so, I was dealing with this as a little girl, like in elementary and even in middle school. And so I have never felt like, especially as a little girl, I never felt confident in myself. Very lost. I felt very like, oh my goodness, like I'm not like everybody else. I'm not like my friends who can read, who can understand different things. And because I had a learning disability, and because I struggle with my body and my being in back pain and wearing a back brace, also that's another thing. I had to wear a back brace to school underneath my clothes, which made kind of like my breast area, kind of like this whole area, very kind of bulky. And so imagine, you know, being me, like 8 or 9 years old, having to wear a back brace, in addition being in like being kind of taken away from my regular classes, or being in a special considered special ed. I had to get accommodation, so they would take me away from the class to help, they give me 101, and so it just felt very awkward, felt uncomfortable. Basically, that's the word. I felt uncomfortable all throughout elementary. I felt very uncomfortable as a little girl because I knew I was different, and then also I was struggling academically. In addition, I was struggling with my back, so I was also in pain as a little girl, like in pain, physical pain. I was in mental pain, like mental and sadness, and then I was in physical pain. And like, to think that I had to go through that as a little girl was really, like, I think it's just so crazy to me that I was able to like persevere as a little girl dealing with all that. Having a disability and struggling with my back, it definitely made me grow up faster. It made me have to build grit. I had to get perseverance. I felt like I had to develop a sense of self. I had to keep going because it's like, what else am I going to do? Like, I have to do well. I have to try my best. And so as a little girl, I definitely wasn't confident in myself. Like, I was not confident in myself. And then after surgery, like, a weird feeling. I don't know how to describe the feeling, but it's a very weird feeling. And I literally struggled, like, kind of like with like navigating or kind of getting used to my body with rods. And that's like a whole that's a whole thing. Like, at 10 or 11 years old, and you had back surgery, like literally chronic, like that, very serious surgery, and I have something rods, something screws in my back to keep my spine straight. I had a scar down my back. So to this day, I still have a scar down my back from my surgery. It's not very visible, but you definitely can kind of see it a little bit if you're like close to me. And I was very self-conscious about that. Basically just wore clothes that cover up my back, so like people wouldn't see my scar, my back acne. I definitely did not feel confident with myself. I never was like super overweight or definitely like super unhealthy growing up, but as I got older, I would say high school, I did gain some pounds, and the doctor was like, your height is like this, and I'm only 5'2", right? I'm 5'2", and so your height is right here, but your weight is right here. And I was like, and so I was like, okay, I definitely need to make sure that I need to move my body. I needed to make sure I'm taking care of myself. And the doctor did tell me in a very nice way, like, because I have rods in my back, I have to be very conscious of the weight that I gain or the weight that I have on me, and because it can weigh me down and can just bring me more back pain and different things like that and give me more issues. And so that always stuck with me, because I was like, okay, well, I need to make sure I need to be more self-conscious of what I'm eating, what I'm putting in my body. So growing up and dealing with those two things, having a learning disability and then struggling, with having back issues and being diagnosed with chronic scoliosis, I'm happy that I had to go through those things as a little girl and as a preteen and teenager, because once I got to high school and college, specifically college, I realized that like I have to try to be the best version of myself. And so of course, over the years, it took me a long time to be confident in myself and start building confidence. I think I think really the building confidence didn't kick in for me personally until I graduated college. So literally a few years, like 5 or 6 years ago, when I graduated from UC San Diego, I felt like when I was in high school and college, I was always looking at other people. I was always looking at other girls and like how skinny they were, or like how, their hair. I was just always constantly kind of comparing myself to other girls and other people, really. I feel like I had self-love. I loved myself, but I didn't love myself enough to not compare myself to other people. And I think we all can kind of relate to that. I mean, for some girls, some girls, they just got it. Like, some people, they just got it. They're confident in themselves. They're like whatever. But for me, I definitely struggled with that. And in college, I also struggled in college trying to pass my classes and still navigating, my disability, always navigating my disability in an academic space is always definitely difficult. And so feeling kind of out of place, feeling still different because I have a disability, because I struggle, and I just always felt like nothing came really easy for me. And so I definitely didn't have a lot of confidence. There were so many factors, right? So many things. I'm like, okay, there's so many things I have to work on. And after college was like, I feel like I had an aha moment, because I was like, okay, figuring out what career I wanted to do. I found, higher education and working in higher ed as a professional. And then I found community college counseling and counseling people and counseling students, and how much I love that. And so because I was on a self-discovery kind of path and journey right after undergrad, it definitely made me reflect on me as an individual. And I started to think about, okay, what are the things I need to work on? What do I want to do for what I want to do or get in? What kind of career do I want to pursue? And so as I started to work, and as I started my job and work with students, I started to build confidence in myself. When I got a job as a program coordinator for a first year experience program at a community college, I feel like that job really pushed me out of my comfort zone. And because I was so uncomfortable in like some of the duties and what I had to do, I had to step up in ways I never had to step up for a job before. I had to do a lot of public speaking. I had to do workshops with students. I had to put myself out there to get the job done. And because of that, that definitely built my confidence in how I spoke to people, how I showed up for myself, how I presented myself. And because I had to speak in front of students and speak in front of my colleagues and just people and plan events on campus, I was more self-aware of how I presented myself, how I showed up for myself. I realized I have to be my biggest cheerleader, right? And I have to love me like God loves me. Like God created me to be a masterpiece. He created us all to be a masterpiece, and He loves us unconditionally. And so you have to love yourself just how God made you and created you. And so I started to really pour more into just working on me and becoming the best version of myself. And that meant journaling. That meant reflecting on how far I have came since I was a little girl, and really forgiving me, and as they say, hugging your inner child, because my inner child, I went through a lot. Okay. And so I started to take myself out on solo dates. I just started to be a lot more confident in myself, but starting to say affirmations to myself like, I can, I will, and I must. I got this. I can do this. And so I realized that those uncomfortable situations that I were in college or post-grad or applying to grad school and getting rejected, but not giving up, and then I didn't think I was going to get in, but I did. But that took confidence. That took me telling myself, hey, Desiree, you got this, you can do this, but you just can't give up. All those actions that I did to pour into myself and to love on myself and to affirm myself definitely helped me build the confidence that I have today. And of course, there's certain things that I'm continuing to work on, like my body. There's certain things that I'm self-conscious about. Like, I'm not like where I'm at physically. I have lost weight. I'm continuing to lose weight, but I just feel like I'm still on my health and wellness and fitness goals. So I'm on that journey right now. I do feel the best that I have ever felt, and look the best I ever looked before. And I'm just getting started, by the way, because the goal is to get finer and finer every year. Okay, but I feel amazing. I feel a lot more confident because I've been putting in the work spiritually, physically, mentally, and I just been really working on me, okay, in all areas. And I definitely feel like it took me a long time. It took me some being in uncomfortable positions to get to this point of feeling this confident within myself, because what I had to go through earlier on definitely molded me and made me to the woman I am today. And I'm so glad that I had to go through what I had to go through to get to this point, to be this Desiree. And I'm very thankful and grateful. And so I want to encourage you all to just love yourself and to walk in confidence with being who you are. And I think it's so easy to be so trapped in comparing ourselves to other people, but try your best not to compare yourself to someone online. I have to remind myself, because I see someone online on social media and they look like they have it all together, that life looks amazing and perfect, but in reality that they are fighting some really dark stuff. Like, they're really going through some issues. They might be grieving a loved one. They might be struggling with their mental health. They might be feeling suicidal. They might be really going through a rough time. And because social media is just a representation of someone's life. Like, it's just not a representation. It's just like kind of like maybe like a positive kind of like look into their life. But most people don't post the negatives and what they're going through or how they're struggling. You know, they're not going to put that online. Most people are not going to put that online. And so they're going to put the highlight reels of their life. And so you have to remind yourself that you don't know what people are going through, and which, because they look beautiful, they have that everything that you want, that doesn't mean that they're not going through something, that they're actually going through some difficult hardships or trials. So, you know, it's best not to compare yourself. It's best to just focus on you, work on you, okay? I think we live in a world where we're so worried about celebrities and what everybody else got going on. Is to focus solely on you. Do not worry about nobody else. Don't worry about what the next person, what your friend got going on. Don't worry about nobody. Work on you. Work on healing you. Work on living out your purpose that God has called you to do. Focus on you. Focus on the 3 B's, especially if you're a woman, even a guy. Work on your brain, your body, and your business. Shout out to Tony Gaskins, okay? Y'all need to follow him. I'll link his channel down below. So focus on you. Second, mind your business. I have realized that part of being confident and secure in myself, okay, it took me a long time to get here, is that I mind my business. I ain't worried about nobody but Desiree. Okay? I ain't worried about what nobody else is doing. I'm worried about me over here. So minding your business is going to give you peace. Minding your business is crucial to self-care, to literally taking care of yourself. Because if you mind your business, you're not worried about what somebody else is doing, and you can't even compare yourself to somebody, because you're so focused on you and you reaching your own goals, whatever that is. So that's number 2, mind your business. Number 3, start reflecting on things or reasons why you're not confident in yourself. I had to do that for myself. I had to sit down with myself, especially when the pandemic happened and we were all at home. I was downstairs, I was outside in my backyard, or even in my room, in my journal, literally saying, okay, these are what areas do I need to work on. So I identified the areas that you want to work on. Maybe you want to work on your education. Maybe you want to get a degree. Maybe you want to work on losing some weight. Maybe you have a weight loss journey, a weight loss goal that you are trying to reach. Maybe you're trying to build muscle. Whatever your goal is, whatever you feel like there are certain areas that you need to focus on, start identifying those areas of what you need to focus on, so you can better yourself, so you can start feeling more confident when you start working towards those areas that you know you need to improve on. And so that's a huge advice and tip for you all, is just to really identifying what is causing you to not be confident in yourself, are happy within your skin, are just secure in your body. And so start identifying those things. And my final tip for you all in regards to building confidence is to go on a self-love / healing journey. I want to encourage my girls who are maybe struggling with loving themselves and having self-love to go on a self-love journey and to go to therapy and to heal yourself of any trauma or anything that you feel like you haven't addressed in a long time that's impacting your whole life, that's impacting your goals, how it's impacting how you show up for yourself. And I think we just have to be real. We have to be realistic about what is hindering us from being the best version of ourselves. And so I feel like I have been on a self-love journey for a few years now, and that's also been how I've been able to build my confidence, is going on a self-love journey, being in solitude, being okay with being alone. Even if you are in a relationship, you can still go on a self-love journey, because it's all about self. It's not about the other person, it's about you. And so a self-love journey can be just really, saying affirmations to yourself, talking to yourself in a positive light, not overthinking, moving your body. It can be whatever it looks like to you to make those changes so you can get to the person that you want to be. And so for me, it was going on solo dates. It was, being in solitude. For me, my self-love journey was a whole lot. And also my self-love journey for me was being okay in my singleness and embracing singleness for what it is, which is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful season. Being in my single season. And I couldn't say that a few years ago, but I love it because I am finding out more about me, focusing on me. I don't know, I'm kind of rediscovering myself all over again. And so you have to be okay with being alone in solitude with your own self. If you're not okay with being by yourself, then you might want to start looking into why you don't enjoy your own presence. That can be an issue. So yeah, that was a lot. But that was like my last tip, is really to consider going on a self-love journey / healing journey if you need to, or maybe it's just as simple as going to therapy, whatever that looks like for you. Self-love healing journey can look different for everybody else, so it's just important to go back to tip number 3 and to identify what you need to work on or what you need to do to be able to reach to be the best version of yourself. So thank you all for watching today's Coffee Chat with Des episode, and I really hope you all enjoyed this video. Make sure you comment down below anything that resonated with you, anything that I said that was maybe encouraging. We're all here to encourage and uplift one another, so if you have any tips or advice or anything that I didn't cover in this video, make sure you put it down below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next one. Bye.